Hi everyone, it's me, Krylios, Team Racing Productions MC and producer. And joining me today, I have with us, or we have with us, podcaster and YouTuber blasianFMA coming to you here on the Team Racing YouTube Live. Welcome.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are you? Nice to see you.
I'm great. It's nice to see you too. Over here in New York, actually, I don't know. I've been inside all day, so I don't know what it feels like outside.
Well, it feels pretty good. I just stepped outside for a little bit. It's giving around 61 degrees as opposed to yesterday when it was freezing. So I'm
Mm,
not complaining. It is sunny outside and it's cute. Let's begin a little bit with a little bit about your background and how you got started in this podcast YouTube world.
okay. Shoot. Gosh, it's been what, 2008 that I
Mm,
started? Yeah. But it hasn't been a consistent what is that, 12 years, going on 13 years. It hasn't been a
mhm,
consistent 12 years. I've had many different eras, but ult- uh initially this started off as me uh talking about the intersections of Black and Asian identity and trying to get people to understand like where I was coming from and where I stood on certain issues, and also being very vulnerable and letting people know that I didn't know everything about what I was going to do. I was just looking over, in the wake of the election, the United States presidential election, a video I did in 2008, when Barack Obama was running against John McCain the first time, yeah,
yeah, first time McCain.
and then the second time Romney. But
Romney.
I was watching this video and I was like, wow, I put out a video saying that I was doing my research on both candidates, right? To try to see who it was that I aligned with. And so in today's 2020 society, people would be like, oh, so you would be a Republican? No, that's not what I'm
Hmm.
saying. It's just
Yeah.
saying I would like to see what both people are saying. So it started off as that. Then it evolved into a video podcast called Education, and I included a lot of
Hmm.
friends. We had a good run with that. That ended in 2014. I moved to New York around that same time, so I was down a lot. And then the pandemic came along, and in May,
Hmm.
I was like, "Child, let me get back on YouTube and start doing stuff." And this is the most growth I've seen because I've had the most time to be the most consistent.
Of course, of course. And I've been doing quite a few well, not quite a few, quite a lot of
Mm,
interviews since the quarantine has started. And one of the through lines, one of the threads that I see, through every interview for many people, not all, but for a great chunk of people, is the fact that, this period has kind of given them a creative renaissance, an artistic renaissance in a type of way. Many people picking up some things that they had not done in a while and start doing them again, or just even really working on the things that they've already been working on but in a different way and with a different mindset. I would say, so how has this pandemic really changed things for you? I mean, you just touched on it, but how have you found creating during this time as opposed to before?
well, I'll tell you. Uh, Thanks for that question. Um, I was fully prepared to create and produce my first independent film
Yeah.
right when this pandemic hit. And so I was devastated. We had gone from July of the pre 2019 planning, table reads, casting,
Wow.
location scouting, Zoom meetings with people from Slay TV, things like this, all
Mm,
sorts of stuff. April 4th was supposed to be the day that we started shooting, and we are going to be done by June 1st.
mm,
Pandemic came along, took all that out, and then I was in the dumps for a while. But then when I started
mm.
YouTube, not only did I come back to YouTube, but then I started employing certain techniques from a creative perspective that I had never done in my vlogs before. Usually I'm talking to the camera like this. If you watch some of my videos lately, you'll see a lot more cinematography for a setup just to talk about this thing about the president, or like, I do a lot of extra stuff. And that's
Yeah.
all energy that spilled over from, you know, having been ready to produce a whole entire film.
And this
So
was going to be on Slay TV.
I was working with Slay TV. I was
Mm,
working
I
with
love.
Terry Torrington, and
Mm-hmm.
he was on the team of five folks,
Yeah.
all queer people of color, and we were going to make this amazing. We're going to produce the screenplay that I
Mm,
And it was
I was just thinking that surprisingly we haven't had anyone from there yet, because I know of them well. I've seen them here on, and they've been producing for a while. This is really cool. But
yeah.
continue.
No, I mean, I can put you in contact. I'm sure they would want to talk to you too. I
Yeah.
mean, you got Melba Moore. Come on now. But yeah, that's to answer the question. Yes, that it's been great to be consistent and grow an audience because of that consistency. But I've never mentioned this on my own videos, but like, yeah, I was going to produce I was in the process of producing my debut independent film as a filmmaker.
Yes. Wow. So it's much different. A lot happened, a lot changed. That's a lot. So now, what drives what you produce on YouTube? What topics, really get you going? What things really drive you to put out new content on YouTube right now?
Yeah, I think it all swirls around the performance and bandwagoning of a lot of people since George Floyd was killed by the police. Everybody wants to say Black Lives Matter now, when as recently as 1 year ago, or even this year, pre-George Floyd, folks were having the discussion of whether Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization or not, right? But then as soon as this happened and it gained a lot of steam, then everybody was saying it. And now that was the summer. Now we're in November as of the recording of this, or as the live broadcast of this. I'm trying to see, can we cash those checks? Can we see what you have done? All these different corporations and organizations and nonprofits that said, aside from that, within that same umbrella is addressing the racism of Karens. That is a central focus on my YouTube channel, which has gotten me into trouble recently. I had a YouTube strike.
Really?
I had a YouTube strike for covering the Seattle road rage Karen, which if you type Seattle road rage Karen, you will find that same video being used by plenty more creators, including creators that are much more famous than I am. And they have not gotten strikes. So I'm like, it's not a question of whether I use this video or not, because you're not taking down everybody else. And I'm not trying to get everybody else who uses the video in trouble. I'm mad at YouTube for not being consistent in their policy. And if it's a matter of, well, the strike was for bullying and cyberbullying and harassment. I'm like, so are you saying that like covering Karens is cyberbullying? Like YouTube was one of those companies.
A phenomenon. They're literally a phenomenon.
And not a new phenomenon.
And not a new
phenomenon. We've been talking about Karens. It's just like Black Lives Matter. It became popular this year. And I'm like, so that drives me. You see how the spirit came out of me.
Yes. I love that. That is wonderful. Well, looking to the future, looking to next year, as we head into 2021, what are your hopes and what are you looking forward to?
I hope that I can keep this momentum going. It is about the momentum is a byproduct of COVID and the pandemic and not being able to go anywhere. I often think like, well, I would have never gotten back into YouTube like this had I been able to be going out to meetings or parties or like meeting friends or doing this. Like, because we're here, this is what it is. But I hope that even after this is all over, I can maintain, my interaction with my audience. I have very faithful people that comment on every video and I can't let them down, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, I still want to have a social life and I want to, once we get past this, produce that movie. And will that afford me the time to dedicate to YouTube? We don't know yet. So I'm hoping that I can find a balance. I really have found that I love doing this, reaching out to people, talking to you, having people reach out to me. It's a community and it's getting us through this time. But like you said,
definitely.
What is the future?
Definitely. I love that. So as we round this out, could you go ahead and share with our viewers how they can follow you, keep up with you, subscribe to you, where they can like, share, and comment on everything?
I am literally blasianFMA on everywhere on the internet. I hate to say that, but just Google me. Like, it's there. But I'm mainly active on Twitter, YouTube, and YouTube, and then I have Instagram, but like they turned into a shopping plaza, and I'm not trying to have any of that. And then Twitter got like the the fleets, and I'm like,
Fleets. So
what is this?
Twitter has fleets now, not just
Child,
at your local pharmacy.
not at your local pharmacy, child, or at your club bathroom. So,
Or at your club bathroom, buddy.
yeah,
Yeah.
DMs on Instagram. Oh, I didn't
Mhm,
even mention like a lot of what drives me, and I'm sorry, as we're rounding this out, also talk
mhm,
about my HIV positive status, and I'm very open
mhm.
about that. And
Yeah.
so, people who are looking for guidance on that, even though I'm no doctor, I am motivational in how people find my videos for that as well.
Yes,
So,
yes, and
I
that's
always,
great because there's so many people. I would imagine that there's so many people who would want to get some information, from someone else just like them,
mhm.
not just from a doctor, from someone, someone just like them who's going through the experience and is, able to share a lot of those things. So yes,
Right.
that's
And so my vlogs about that subject are more like, well, this is how I got through it. And this is
mm-hmm,
so all that to say, I know we're rounding out, but all that to say, I've had people reach out to me on DMs and Instagram to say, hey, I watched your video. I really appreciate. Can you tell me how you got through XYZ? What is this? And I'm like, if it's something that I can answer from a personal perspective, I will.
mm-hmm.
But if it's something that definitely needs a physician or a doctor, then I'll be like, I'm not a doctor, but here are some
Yeah.
resources.
Well, thank you, and thank you for the work that you do within our community. It's very, very important, and thank you so much for joining me today on our wonderful little YouTube channel here. Thanks so much, blasianFMA.
Yes.
And people, you can check the comments. You can check the description. Sorry for the links in the description. Once again, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, my pleasure. And to our viewers, thank you for watching. Bye, everyone.